I have here the Tank 3 mic from Fifine, and this is one that was sent to me just a few weeks ago and has been promoted as the step up from the K688, which I reviewed in a previous video. I'll link that in the description below. So today we're going to talk about the Tank 3 mic and all the features that it has to offer and who this mic might appeal to. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Good Podcasting here on Summit City Studios. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, and if you're not already watching on YouTube, why not pop on over to Summit City Studios and check out the channel for all the great podcasting content to help you create, launch, and grow your show. I reviewed a couple of microphones from Fifine in previous videos, which again, I'll link in the description. And I will just say both of those mics, while I do like the quality, were a little, let's just say, lightweight. So when Fifine offered to send me a mic called the Tank, I got a little excited and wondered how this would compare, at least weight-wise, to the other microphones, the K658 and the K688. And I will say, when this box arrived at my front door and I first lifted it and realized this has a little bit more weight to it, it's a little heftier than those previous two mics. And so I got a little excited. And so when I opened the box up, I was very pleased to see that this mic was made out of metal all the way around. This mic really was built well. Now, also inside this box, I will say there's a USB-C to USB cable that comes with it. It's fantastic if your computer still uses a normal USB port or if you have adapters that do that. But many of you probably have a USB-C to USB-C cable already lying around your house, so don't need the USB-C to USB-A. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And let's talk about the Fifine Tank 3. So before we plug in this mic to listen to the sound quality, there's a couple things I want to point out externally on the mic. And there's a reason I'm doing this now and not later, which I will point out in the video when we get that far. But a couple of features that I really like and appreciate about this mic is, let's start with the arm that attaches the mic to the stand. I do love usually the cradle that comes around both sides of the mic, but this one only comes around the one side. And the reason I like it on this mic is because on the other side of the mic, you have the gain control knob and the headphone volume control right here. So it's not on top like some mics are, USB XLR mics. It's not right on top and it's not underneath. It's actually right there on the side. It's super easy access to turn to get to these buttons or get to these knobs and turn them and adjust however you need to. Now, the other feature I like is the mute button on top. And again, most USB mics do have a mute button, but this one is very tactile. You know when you touch the button. It's not just a touch. It's something you actually have to press. It's green when it's on and red when it's muted. And so you have the visual of knowing whether it's on or off, but you also have the touch sensitivity, which again is a little thing, but I think it's a touch on this that is really, really valuable. Now on the back of this mic, you'll see it has dual connectivity. We've already talked about the USB-C cable that comes in the box, so you can plug that in here directly into your computer or adapters or whatever. It also has XLR functionality and capability that you can plug into, let's say, a mixer or a USB interface directly into your laptop. Now, the other feature this has on the back, like most of these USB mics, is the headphone monitoring jack. So you can monitor with zero latency your audio coming directly out of this mic. Now, I talked about this mic plenty, the features. We're gonna plug it in. We're gonna go USB first so you can see and hear and experience some of the features that I've already talked about on this mic before we switch over to XLR and compare it to something like, say, the SM7DB that I'm using in this video. So I'm gonna get this connected. We're gonna go straight to USB first, and we'll get right back to it. Now we are on the Fifine Tank 3 microphone. This is USB cable, as you can see, plugged directly into my laptop that you can't see directly in front of me. So this is, again, the raw audio coming directly out of the USB port of this Tank 3 microphone. I'm curious what you think of the sound. To me, I think the mids are a little high in this one. It leaves the highs that are somewhat crisp, but it kind of buries them in the mids, and I feel like this lacks a little bit of the low end. Now this is raw USB audio, unprocessed, which I could tweak and probably, well, I won't for this video, but if I use this for other videos and other content, I would tweak this in post-production, or I would run it through the Rodecaster Duo that I have sitting to my right and run the processing through that. So not a huge deal. I think this is a great microphone for video content, for podcasting, but you might, again, want to run it through a couple layers of processing to get the best quality that you can, which we will listen to a little bit later. Now, the reason I told you I'd get to this a little bit later, but the reason I wanted to show you some of these features beforehand, you may have already noticed, is that there's a lot of noise when you're fumbling and touching and handling this microphone. It doesn't reject that noise very much. Let me give you an example as I compare it to this Shure SM7DB. As I touch this mic, you can hear it a little bit, but it's not nearly as pronounced as this is here. You hear the difference? Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's not so subtle. We'll listen to it in post and I'll judge from there. But directly into my ears, there's a lot of noise here. So as you play with these buttons, as you're fumbling with the gain control and the headphone control knobs here, that again, very easy access, easy to handle, you can hear that. So you might want to hit the mute button. It turns green, and you know that when it's green, it's on. When it's red, that's what I was saying when I was muted, that when it's red, you can't hear anything. So that's when you would want to adjust your mic, control the knobs, and adjust the volume and all that after you've hit that mute button. So again, this is raw USB audio. Would love to know what you think. Let me know what you think of the direct USB unprocessed audio in the comments below. And while you're doing that, I'm going to switch us over to XLR. We're going to listen to it raw, and then we're going to process the audio. I want to get your thoughts on that as well. Okay, now you're listening to the Fifine Tank 3 microphone with no processing. This is XLR running into a Rodecaster Duo, and maybe you can hear the difference between the raw USB and the raw XLR. I do think it sounds better running through XLR. Now I will say I also have my headphones, my inner ear monitor headphones, plugged into the Rodecaster Duo that has a better preamp than the headphone preamp that's in this mic. So it just naturally sounds better because of that than if you're monitoring here. So that's something else to be aware of this mic or any mic. Your built-in preamp in the microphone itself isn't going to be the best for your headphones to listen to. So just know that going in, it's going to sound better running it through a mixer. Anyway, it's going to sound a little bit better, likely plugged into XLR than USB, but this is the raw audio, and I wanted to just talk a little bit and give you a sense of what that sounds, because now I'm going to turn on the processing of this microphone, and right about now you are hearing the processed audio of the Fifine Tank 3 microphone. Now it's running through, again, the Rodecaster Duo that's sitting on my desk. I've got some EQ, some compression in the EQ. I brought down the mids, I've raised the lows, and so you're hearing probably a little bit lower tone in my voice and a little bit less of the mids, which makes the high end, which I didn't play much with, sound a little clearer and crisper, at least to my ears, through the way I've got this connected. So I'm curious how this sounds to your ears, the processed XLR versus the raw XLR versus the raw USB. Let me know how you would rank those in the comments below. Now, while I've got this here, we're going to test the rejection of this mic as I talk directly into the end of it, just a few inches away from the mic. This is how it sounds. And if I turn it, off-axis rejection actually is pretty good as I listen to this. The off-axis rejection, at least on the side, back, testing. Fifine Tank 3. Turn it back to the side and then back to the front, which actually that's the first time I've run that test on this mic because I just haven't thought to do that until this moment. But I was quite impressed with the quality of the off-axis rejection of this microphone. So give it a gold star for off-axis rejection. Again, we'll test this in post-production as I'm editing this, but right now it sounds pretty clean and pretty quiet. So who's this mic for? Well, I think there's a couple factors that will determine if this mic is right for you. Let's start with the price point. This mic currently on Amazon is listed at $80.99. That's the sale price. The original list price is $89.99. So it's a $90 microphone. And there's a lot of mics in that $90 to $100 to $110 price range that I would recommend, oftentimes over and above this one. But let me explain why that might not be the case for you. Because most of those mics are XLR only microphones. Mics like the Rode Pod mic, the PreSonus PD70 that I have used in some previous videos are all right about that $90 to $100 price point, but they are XLR only, which means you need a USB interface. You need to pay for another piece of equipment to be able to record into your laptop. Whereas a mic like this, that is a good quality. It's not the quality of the PreSonus and the Rode mics I just mentioned, but it's not far off either. And what happens is with a mic like this, because it has USB and XLR connectivity, you can get started with it right now. Plug and play into your computer without purchasing another piece of equipment, and you're good to go with a good sounding USB microphone. But you get to the point where you're ready to purchase a USB interface. You can get your XLR cable. You can upgrade your mic right then and right there with an XLR cable into an interface or even a mixer like the Rodecaster Duo, and do all of your processing before it gets into your computer, so you don't have to do any of the processing in post-production. So for $90, I'd say this is a quality mic for someone starting out. You're ready to go with USB. You don't want to purchase any other equipment. But down the road, you're looking for a little bit of an upgrade. You can plug that in with your XLR cable into your mixer USB interface, and you're good to go. So, quality microphone here, the Tank 3 from Fifine. I applaud you, Fifine. This was a company that I had not even heard of before they offered to send me the first mic that I've reviewed, the K658, and I was highly impressed at that price point with the quality of that microphone. It's a mic that's still in rotation in my household today as my son uses it for his gaming channel and his communication with his friends. The K688, that I reviewed previously as well. Again, I'll link all of those videos in the description. I use on a daily basis. It's my daily driver microphone at my other desk for video conference calls and other video meetings that I'm a part of. And this Fifine Tank 3, I'm certain, will make its way into my rotation of microphones here on this channel. So that's the Fifine Tank 3. Let me know what you think of this microphone. And if you have any other questions that maybe I didn't address in this video, let me know that in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next episode.